Hi, I'm Richard Kiernan. I'm the head of AI platforms for NatWest. Well, there's a few things which are real game changers. One is a contextual understanding. It's not that we're just understanding the words. We're truly understanding the whole thing in context. The content generation is dynamic, so you can tailor it very easily to each message. And the overhead of doing this is much lower. Then there's the efficiency point of view, where we say, okay, well, we used to be able to do this before, but we can scale this very, very easily. Then there's automation. We can automate tasks if we've got the right stage gates in place. And this allows us to do things that we probably wouldn't have done with traditional NLP. If you asked me a year ago, could we retrain the large language model for personalization? I would have said categorically it's too expensive. Now on commodity hardware, it is possible to retrain a large language model. And then you can say, well, actually, we're just going to focus it down on a particular use case. So you can really specialize these things. And the emotional intelligence, NLP can be somewhat stale. There's no excitement involved. It really does feel like you're talking to a machine. Whereas Gen AI and large language models can come up with this beautiful personalized tone. Then there's the concept of multimodal inputs. So yeah, you can have pictures all of a sudden. Aha, audio, wow. Now this is really interesting. So you could actually take a voice call and then you could actually produce a summary and send that out as an email message. That's got a lot of potential in it. I would strongly recommend it. Any organization is really looking to improve their messaging with their customers to look at the large language model options, but don't forget, you need guardrails. You just can't just start using ChatGPT off the shelf and let your customer messaging loose. You're going to end up with uncontrollable results. If you're a regulated organization and you start using a large language model, it is possible that it will start learning from your data. And allowing that data to leak is not okay. So you do need the right architecture. What you cannot do in a regulated organization is start using open public instances of large language models. You also need to consider your corporate branding, that the output of this model needs to be sanitized. Then there's the concept of sanitizing the input. We don't want to start talking about things that we shouldn't even be talking about. We don't want to start using language and terminology which can have a double meaning, and we want to make sure that we don't end up having any of that in our messaging. We need to make sure that we get this right. And this goes back to the right monitoring tools. You need guardrail tools. You need to be sure that we are monitoring bias at model level, but we're also testing it. We're looking at the kind of messaging that comes out. And we want to make sure that we don't accidentally make messages that really are inappropriate. Generative AI, I think this is enormous. I think we can look at a concept of saying, we will always do the same business that we did before, but we'll do it in different ways. And I think that the most important thing to bear in mind is that your customers will enlighten you with things when you interact with them, saying, yeah, we could do that better with our customers. Your internal stakeholders can do things. And the critical point is to go out and train your people. Let them know the art of the possible right now. Let them have blue sky days and chip in and say, hey, I've got this crazy idea. And that's where we got personalization from. It didn't come from the tech side. It came from the business people saying, we want better messaging. We have large language models that generalize and hallucinate. I think they're very good at a large number of things, not surprisingly. But what I would say is we are starting to get into a world where we're retraining models. So large language models, LLMs, in my opinion, may well turn into SLMs. Not small, but specialized. What these models might do is, let's just say that you had some questions around the legal side of things. You'd retrain the model on legal, and it would answer legal questions very well. If you asked it about the football, it wouldn't know anything about football really. On the same count, you can take other areas. You can take finance advice and other things. And then you can consider a new world where we have an incoming prompt, and we divide the prompt up and say, well, this prompt is a legal question about finance. So it will cope with the finance and get the finance and all the right recommendations there. And then all of the legal caveats, it will layer over the top. And from that, we'll merge the technologies together and get an output that's actually far more advanced, more accurate, and less prone to hallucination. So that's where I see the future now. It's looking really exciting.